Hey, hi, how you doing out there, you lovely viewers? I'm Rob Reviews, and today we're going to be talking about my top 10 favorite manga of all time. Now, to cut the story a little short here, back in the day when rap wasn't gay, my fellow students would be reading monthly gaming magazines, Winnie the Pooh, coloring books, a book it, whatever, for free pizza. Me, I'd be reading the latest monthly issue of Shonen Jump magazine. Now, Shonen Jump was this awesome magazine that was chock full of all the best manga that was around at the time. And just by looking at the cover, hey, look at that. They're talking about the Game Boy Micro and the Nintendo DS. And, oh, what's this? The Beginner's Guide to Shonen Jump's Naruto, Ninja Chakra, and more. Well, alrighty. Hey, that's a One Piece Ultimate Trivia Challenge. Magazine had it all. Plus, it gave you news when your favorite manga would get turned into an anime, when it will premiere, what channel it will premiere on, and even when the first couple episodes of the entire first season would come out on DVD or VHS. Yeah, magazine had it all. I loved this magazine. Whenever this landed in my mailbox, video games, movies, homework, second tier, first tier, Shonen Jump. Now, before I start talking about Shonen Jump a little bit too much, let's get back to talking about my top 10 favorite manga. Now, there's going to be one rule and one rule only for this list. One series per artist and writer, or team. Because honestly, if I did more than one series for each artist and writer, I'd be here for a very long time. And I don't want to be here too long. I want to be here for you, the viewers, but I don't want to be here too long because then you're going to get bored of me, and I don't want that. So, without further ado, let's get started. Number 10, Yugioh. It's thanks to Yugioh that I ever found out about Shonen Jump. I came across Volume 1 at my local bookstore, and I was floored by what I saw within these pages. Written and drawn by Kazuki Takashi, the series was much less kid-friendly than the anime was. There was death, foul language, weird Egyptian curses, and even some normal run-of-the-mill high school boy daydreams. You know, that kind of stuff. The original series was eventually made into an anime known in America as Season 0, and it covered 3 major arcs within the 7 volumes. The school arc, the Death Tea arc, and the Monster World arc. The art in this series is fantastic, and the writing for the characters are much more realistic and give a much, much, much deeper look into the lives and minds of the characters we grew up with. In my opinion, this manga is way better than what we got with the American anime, and it's still a title I return to today. Number 9. Eyeshield 21. Now, I'm not much of a sports guy, like, at all, but something with this manga really spoke to me. Written by Riichiro Inagaki and illustrated by Yusuke Murata, Eyeshield 21 tells the story of a short, meek, and confident as a Twinkie guy named Sena Kobayakawa, who is often bullied and used as a gopher, which is basically a slave to the upperclassmen. One thing leads to another, and Sena ends up becoming the running back to his school's football team, the Damon Devilbats. The series is filled with lovable and memorable characters, and the story quickly goes from proving oneself to the majority to oneself, all the way to accomplishing the very same dream as your teammates. It's a thumping good read, and even though I don't like football, this book has kept my heart rate up a couple of times. It's filled with action. Number 8. I Love Halloween. One of the only 2 American manga to make an appearance on this list is a trilogy series about a bunch of twisted kids who just wanted their fucking candy. Written by Keith Giffen and illustrated by Benjamin Moore, this horror comedy follows main characters Finch, Mr. Kitty, Devil Lad, Pig, and Moochie, Finch's really weird kid sister. Across the 3 books, Finch and the gang set out right before the sunset to get the start on their candy fixes. And when I say these kids take Halloween very seriously, they really fucking do. For example, in the first chapter of the first book, an old lady who dared to give them apples ends up being found guilty for killing an officer and then has a heart. I'll leave the rest to you. Buy the fucking books. The story, while bizarre, is an easy to follow one. It takes some pretty weird twists and turns through the 3 books. The art is a lovely mixture of a Jonan Vasquez meets Tim Burton love child, sprinkled with the mind of Quentin Tarantino. There hasn't been a Halloween yet where I haven't dusted these beauties off for a good read. Number 7. Scott Pilgrim. The name says it all. Brian Lee O'Malley's tale of a lazy, hapless moron named Scott finds the gal of his dreams, Ramona Flowers. But from the word yes, Scott is flung into a world where he must now defeat her 7 evil exes, while also battling life in all of its unmerry turns. The story starts out pretty run-of-the-mill, but towards the middle and the end of the series, it gets really intense, and equally as depressing. Oh, before I forget, and if you've seen the movie but you haven't read the books, read the damn books, please. You need to. Anyway, I love the series for its quirky and always enjoyable humor, mixed with its pop culture and video game references. The addition of Scott being in a band while adding music to some of the fights in this series really breaks the mold and kept these books fresh as can be. There were twists at nearly every turn, and I'm not gonna lie, since reading the books, I've always wanted to have a love like Scott and Ramona. Maybe not page by page, but the action and the love and, I don't know, having a Culkin as a roommate can't be that bad. Number 6, Death Note. Death Note, the famed series that took America by storm. Death Note was written by Tsugumi Oba and illustrated by Takeshi Obata. The story follows the main protagonist, Light Yagami, a noble young brainiac who thinks he can clean the world up with the Death Note. Now, a Death Note is a notebook that can basically kill anyone whose name's written down in it. But there's like a bookload of rules and explanations, and just buy volume 13. This thing right here, looks like that. Light is joined by the coolest Shinigami ever, who is named Ryuk, which I will tell you right now is the best character in the series. Love that guy. Now through Ryuk, Light learns the ins and outs and sets out to conquer crime on Earth. But let's just say it takes a turn. A rather wide one. A really bad, you'll see. Death Note in both story and art is amazing. It was one of the first Shonen Jump Advance titles to be released, and at the time, it was the darkest manga I ever read. I didn't even know manga could get that dark. The character development mixed with story's twists and turns, deaths, and often heartbreaking sacrifices really brings this series to a height where Death Note is a must-read for people who are just starting to read manga. Hell, this series ended in 2007, almost 10 years ago, and the books are still in stores. There's 3 live-action Death Note films from Japan, plus a new one coming this fall, and apparently here in the US, Netflix is going to be making their own movie and or series of it. Death Note's huge! It's everywhere! Number 5, Rurouni Kenshin. Rurouni Kenshin was written and illustrated by Nobuhiro Watsuki. The series follows the mysterious character Kenshin Imura as he wanders Japan in the Meiji period, which is a period in Japan that lasted from 1868 to 1912. The story is an old-school samurai story with love, action, comedy, and sometimes some pretty fucking gruesome deaths. And always badass fights, always. Rurouni Kenshin as a manga came out around the same time the anime did in America, so I was reading along with the anime as it released. That is, before Toonami began restarting the series every 5 weeks due to episodes not being fully ready to air at the time. So, after a while, I just stopped watching the anime and just began reading the books. And from the year 2003 to 2006, Rurouni Kenshin was topping the lists everywhere. It was even in the New York Times. Rurouni Kenshin is a series that I reread each and every single year, and I never get tired of it. The action, the romance, the deaths, the fights, the journey. It's just, honestly, one of the best stories you will ever read in manga. Number 4, Shaman King. Oh man, where do I even begin? Shaman King ruled over my childhood with an iron fist. Be it the video games, the manga, the anime, you name it, I watched it, I played it, I read it, and I loved it all. Haruyuki Taki wrote and illustrated the series in such a way where sky was the limit. There was imagination behind every page in this book. Now, Shaman King follows our main character, Yo Asakura, as he trains for the great shaman fight to become the next Shaman King. I loved every character in the series, and I had the sweatiest of palms when reading these books. Every character, from Wooden Sword Ryo to Faust to their accompanied ghosts, all felt original and new. No other series has come close to the beautiful and whimsical style of Shaman King, and I don't know if any series ever will truly defeat Shaman King in my own terms of fantasy and action. This is a series I can reread at least 4 times a year, and I will never get tired of it. Number 3, Video Girl Ai. In 2005, I was introduced to the works of Masakazu Katsura in Shonen Jump's sneak peek of his series Eyes. Well, Eyes was originally my number 3 pick, but then I remembered his other series, Video Girl Ai. Video Girl Ai was originally published in 1989 to 1992. So, being born in 92, I missed out on the initial popularity of this one. The series follows a guy named Yota who likes a girl named Moemi who likes his best friend Takashi who doesn't like her. Jeez. Being the kind-hearted guy that he is, he tries to get the two together just to make Moemi happy while he sits upset, but still happy for her. Yeah. While walking home, crying his eyes out and feeling sorry for himself, Yota comes across a video store that apparently only the pure of heart can see, as according to the owner. Yota rents what he thinks is a porn tape to help him think off his current situation. And it turns out the girl that he sees when he boots the tape up is what's called a video girl, who's named Ai. She then reaches out of the TV and comes to life. Yeah! This story is a sci-fi romance title that hits every classic romantic comedy string in a new way by integrating that sci-fi element into it. As a video girl, Ai only has so much time with Yota before her tape ends. Rewinding her or taking the tape out erases her memory, and when the original organization gets thrown into the mix, Yota must fight to save Ai's life. And I'm not gonna lie, I cried when I first read this series. Manly, yet not so manly, tears of manliness. Number 2, Goodnight Punpun. Though this series is rather new in America, I've always seen the strange yet crisp artwork from Oyasumi Punpun all throughout the web. And in March of this year, I finally got my first taste of this amazing series. Goodnight Punpun is both written and illustrated by Inio Asano, who I admire greatly for his wondrous art and heart-ensnaring stories. The series follows our bird kid guy named Punpun as he goes through life with romance, crushes, divorce, and all of that. Much like Scott Pilgrim and Video Girl Ai, this is a love story. But this is a love story of a shy kid coming out of his shell, as well as kind of being a coming-of-age teen movie, too. Don't get me wrong, there's fantasy present in this series, and while only 2 of the 4 planned books have come out here, oh boy, it gets weird. It gets really weird very quickly. But while it does get weird, it also manages to stay grounded in reality, and at the same time with crushes, puberties, fights, and love, and then some. So far, out of the 2 volumes released, I love every character. Each and every one of them. Each character is taken care of in such a way where you genuinely feel for them because these characters are people you've known all throughout your childhood. And that's one of the many points where this story gets me. Next to the love and shyness and such, these characters are without a doubt your best friends from grade school. And it really makes this story that much more lovable and relatable. This is the only series on here that's not yet finished its run in America yet, but this quickly became one of my top favorites very, very quick. Just from reading through Volume 1, the 20-something times I have, and the 20-something times I'm doing from Volume 2, pure greatness. And my number 1 favorite manga of all time, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Parts 1 and 2. I don't know if anyone was expecting this one, but here it is. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Parts 1 and 2. Now, I won't get into talking about the Zelda games just yet, but just know that I love them, like, a lot. Like, I'm devoted to the Zelda franchise, even though Skyward Sword had weird controls and 2 is kind of out there, but whatever. When I found out that there was a manga series for The Legend of Zelda, my mind may as well have been a neutron star on the brink of collapsing. So, I found a box set of this series at my local bookstore and spent my entire week and weekend with my nose just buried in them. Akira Himikawa is the pen name for the manga artist duo A. Honda and S. Nagano. Both write and illustrate the series, and holy crap. Wow, like, just wow, I have to come back to this. Now, why did I choose the OOT books over the others? Well, because I feel the OOT books add so much backstory to the game. I take these books as an extension of the game, even though I know they're not canon, you don't gotta tell me, but I just really like it that way. And they make Ocarina of Time that much more personal and beautiful. Everyone knows the story of Ocarina of Time by now, but you've yet to truly know it until you've read these books. They're whimsical, they're adventurous, there's action and a whole bunch of like side stuff, and there's heart-destroying moments that just make you want to cry. And if you love the Zelda franchise like I do, the feels will hit you, and they will hit you hard. Those of you who have read the books before, no spoilers in the comments. You know what I'm talking about. No spoilers. No. The duo took what they liked about the games and they added to it. It's like DLC in book form. So if you love OOT, you will love the OOT books. But hey, don't stop there. Buy the rest. You can get the whole series for 40-something bucks over on Amazon. Go do it because, well, the Zelda name for sure, but Akira Himikawa as a duo, both the art and the story are just pristine. These books will make you fall in love with this series all over again. Like, just looking at the pages right now, I just want to go and play Legend of Zelda. Well, in fact, I might just do that. It's a pretty good idea. Bye. Well, everybody, that was my top 10 favorite manga of all time. Now, you may have noticed, not a lot of big names were on this list. Names like Dragon Ball Z, Bleach, Naruto, One Piece, yada yada. Well, that's because some of them were kind of kicked off the list for another list that I'm making right now. Some of them were just kicked off from the new blood that's in the list. Take Goodnight Punpun, for example. Goodnight Punpun just started in America in March. Volume 2 just came out a couple of weeks ago. This list is always changing, and manga's ever evolving. Every month there's a new series starting. Every month there's a brand new writer or artist starting up a new series, giving a brand new experience each and every time. So this list is viable to change over the years, even the months. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you'll join me next time, because next time, I'm going to be rebuttaling some shit. Good night, everybody.